In episode number 230, we've been asking for this character since the very first Injustice's DLC was announced and revealed, Swamp Thing in Injustice 2.
We also have the renewal to one of my favorite shows, Lucifer's Season 3, already renewed, and Season 2 isn't even done yet.
Our comic book highlight includes Justice League Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2. The fight continues between the two heroes, two sets of heroes, one of which has Batman, so the Rangers better watch out.
And at the very end of this podcast, we will have a spoiler-filled review for the Lego Batman movie. We have been waiting for this for way too long.
All of this and so much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
For any new brokeheads, the way the format of the show works is first we cover some news ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more, and then we end up with a comic book highlight or two of the week. This week, as we mentioned earlier, we have the spoiler review of the Lego Batman movie, which don't worry if you haven't seen the movie yet. That's at the very, very end of the whole episode, and we'll give you a warning in case you want to tune out. But you won't miss out on any of the news items, because those are coming up. But first, I did finish The People vs. O.J. Simpson, all 7.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Of this this movie. I'm going to call it a movie, but it's marketed as a TV show, and you saw the tail end of it. You got to see the silliness.
So, you couldn't sleep one morning for whatever reason, and I just woke up to this silly show. And that's what it was. Just silly.
This is people are confused. They think it's a documentary when I tell them about it at work. They think it's a recreation. Well, it is a recreation. It's all completely a dramatic recreation of it starts the night of the murder, and then goes all throughout the trial until the very end, when we follow a little bit of his life, soon after he is declared not guilty. But it stars Cuba Gooding Jr. as O.J. Simpson, John Travolta as Shapiro, who is my favorite part of the whole thing, because they shit on his performance and said he was acting like a queen in the whole thing. And I would maybe take that seriously if the rest of the documentary, or not documentary, now I'm calling it that, if the rest of the production was very serious and they were all trying to really earnestly tell the tale as honestly as possible. But the whole thing takes chances and makes up stories, makes up romances between the prosecutors getting together, makes up this rap-filled, music-filled
Fuck
drama.
The police.
When you are hamming it up, John Travolta cannot be. It's fine if he acts like a queen. It's fine if he acts like a villain. It's fine if he overdoes his part, because everyone else is doing the exact same thing. At one point, OJ is talking to his lawyers, and he says, "No, when someone is not performing, I take him out of the game. You can put me in, coach. I've got a quarterback blocking." So he's using sports terms to argue with his lawyers, which I'm sure he did not do in real life.
My favorite part was David Schwimmer, who played Robert Kardashian, who just whined about everything.
He sucks. His character sucks.
We can't be friends anymore. But the best part was he was just acting like Ross from Friends, so...
Is that what he acts like?
Yeah,
exactly like
that.
Like the Kardashian?
Yes.
The Kardashians are in it?
Yes.
They appear, and not like the actual... people, but they have recreations of the little kids, and they make them act like they do now because this is how they became and acted this way. At one point, David Schwimmer tells them, "No, Kardashians are not about fame. You remember that, kids." And they all stare at him and ignore him and start fighting among one each other. And that's the story being like, see? They didn't listen to him. And I'm thinking, that did not happen either.
You want to know how Kardashians got famous? Kim's sex tape. That was it.
It wasn't the trial?
No, it was definitely her sex tape.
Because that's one thing that they always gave credit to, was to Kardashian for the OJ trial for getting him off. And it was really Shapiro hiring the right people. Cochran was huge, instrumental in getting OJ off. And in the whole thing, you said, David Schwimmer does nothing but whine and complain and doubt OJ. And that's it. He almost does nothing during the whole trial. He barely speaks. And maybe that's the way it was in real life. And I still don't know why they give him so much credit even today for that OJ trial. But I found it hilarious. It got serious when it needed to. It got really silly when it had to. And I loved it. It got me off of Stranger Things. We were kind of getting hooked on some Stranger Things. We finished 2 or 3 episodes. This is amazing. And it was amazing.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed. I don't think I could have sat through 7.5 hours of that.
When we finished it, I don't know why, someone can run off with this, and that's fine, but just remember to give credit. Why is there not a romantic manga over the OJ trial? I want a manga miniseries of OJ Simpson versus the people, full of glittery backgrounds, bubbled backgrounds, rose petals. One of the characters has to be the handsome one, and I have no idea who that would be because none of the characters are handsome.
No.
But there needs to be that. Even if you handsomify OJ, just to really fuck with people. And put rose petals right near him, right around the frame whenever he appears in court, whenever he's speaking. This needs to happen. A manga OJ Simpson. Who would not fucking buy this shit?
I would buy it.
I would buy every single copy. As long as I was credited, I'd give it away on the podcast. I wouldn't even need to give it away. Everyone would pay for that manga.
But it has to have, like, a Japanese name for the manga. Like, OJ Sensei or something.
OJ Sensei. That is amazing. That is the title of this future manga and this episode.
OJ Sensei.
Isn't that a great idea, though?
I think it's great. I think you should draw this.
If I knew how to draw Japanese style, even if I do it badly, though, I think it would still be, like, funny enough where people are because it's not supposed to be legitimate.
What you have to do is have some parts that are done really, really well and serious, and then some parts that aren't.
Where I'm drawing it? Yeah.
Yes.
Man, I would be so happy if this ever happened. And OJ Simpson manga. Fucking right there. Viz Media needs to get on this.
But we can't call him OJ. We gotta call him AJ. Like apple juice.
Why does it have to be apple juice?
Because if we call him OJ, we gotta pay him for his likeness.
No, because he's OJ Sensei.
Okay.
They're all gonna have Japanese counterpart names.
Okay.
It can still have their likeness, because then you can say it's a parody manga and
so
get away with it.
Instead of Shapiro, we could do like Shapiro-san.
There you go. Shapiro-san. But still make him look like Travolta, not like the real character. Which some of the counterparts at the end of the whole I keep calling it that, the whole movie, and the credits, they show you side-by-side comparison of like, here's the real person, and here's Travolta as Shapiro. And his was the only character where it looked nothing like the actual person. Everyone else was like, God damn, this makeup was amazing for everyone. The judge was spot on.
Oh, yeah.
OJ, too, I guess, didn't look anything like OJ, Cuba Gooding Jr. But everyone else, aside from those two, was like the actual people, the same haircuts, even the same shape style of their head. It was incredible. It was really well done.
I'm going to think up names for all of these people now.
You need to. You definitely need to.
Takadashian.
We do like to start off with some hashtag games where we do have them throughout the week. And this week's was hashtag make a film younger.
So the one you put out, which was brilliant, Howard the Duckling.
There you go. Howard the Duckling. That can be a spin-off child's comic, too.
That would be adorable. Like he wears a little diaper. Kind of like Muppet Babies solving some crimes.
Put it in the kids section.
Yeah. We also have one from Mr. Riggs on Facebook who said Starlet Wars.
He's been on the show. He's been on the podcast. So what do you have one this week, Kelly? I
mean, mine's not strong because when I start to think of these things and it's a movie, I always go to Pirates of the Caribbean and I'm like, what can I turn that into? So I thought of Pirates of the Pangea.
That is super early. That's a
way
young ass Pirates movie. So all the characters don't live to their mid-20s.
No.
They all die early.
Yeah.
Actually, they wouldn't even be Homo sapiens either. I don't know who you'd be putting sailing the seas.
I don't know. Some dinosaurs?
Could be time-traveling pirates.
There you go.
Have Johnny Depp. They're running out of ideas anyway. They've got like zombie ghosts, pirates. Might as well have them go into the past. Where maybe Captain Barbossa goes to the past too to try to rule early on.
Okay.
Find all the gold and all that from Pangea only, and Depp has to go to the past and stop him.
This sounds terrible. Please
Tell
never
me
make
you wouldn't
this a
watch
movie.
this.
I would, but please don't make this a movie. I watched like the last 2 Pirates, didn't I? And they were terrible.
You mean the last 3? The last 3 were awful.
How many are we up to now?
So we have the 3, and then the spin-off sort of only Johnny Depp one. So that's the 4th one. That's the one with the mermaids.
Okay.
So remember the original with the Black Pearl, the second one with Davy Jones, and it ends with Johnny Depp dying, and the third one where they stop Davy Jones and they all fire upon each other in the big whirlpool. It was fucking terrible.
And then the mermaids.
And then the mermaids. So the last 3
That's
were
it?
terrible. There's 4 movies.
There's only 4?
What,
I thought there
I'm
were
glad
5.
there's only 4. No. The 5th one's coming.
Are you sure that's
I'm
not the 6th one?
100% sure.
All right, you win. Fine.
Told you. And who's the Pirates fan here?
I'm just going to take a nap over here.
Well, the 6th one can be Pirates of the Pangaea.
Okay.
Let's kick it off with the news this week.
First up, we will start out with some video game news. Swamp Thing is the latest character to be revealed as playable in Injustice 2, available on the PS4, Xbox One, Android, and iOS devices.
My grandfather talked about you, Swamp Thing.
They shall go disrespecting nature.
He said if I meet you, to kill you.
You can rewind and go back in the podcast's episode to when they first announced DLC additional characters for the first Injustice. And 2 of the ones that we called have already been added as of Injustice 2. So it's almost like almost like a little dream come true.
It's like they listen to our podcast or something.
The first one being Dr. Manhattan.
Yes.
Which has been sort of confirmed with Ed Boon saying, do you guys want to see the Watchmen? And you've got to put Manhattan in there.
Of course.
And the second one being Swamp Thing. That was our big one where we really, really wanted Swamp Thing thrown into the Injustice game. And they finally did it. Not even as DLC. You get this character from the main roster when you buy Injustice 2.
He's so cool, too, running around with the little buns hanging out. I'm like, what's his buns hanging out? That's awkward. But when he ducks, he just, like, goes into the ground.
I saw one tweet that said, Swamp Thing gives a new meaning to 6 Feet Under. His dodge is so funny. Wonder Woman like throws the last one, he just goes whoop and sinks into the ground. That was great. He throws spore, like marijuana smoke, I guess, at Wonder Woman and like dazes her. He duplicates himself.
Yeah.
And he holds you down and then he hits you with his branches. Batman tried to kick him and he just grew a tree from his back. His moves are so fucking fun looking. They got really creative. His final smash, I'm going to call it his final smash, his fatality, is he drags the character down underground and then grows giant fists, which we saw him do. We've seen him do that several times in the comics. But giant fists just slam you back and forth in this underground cave, breaks your back by growing even more like tree bits, and then throws you back up and slams you down. All while he's still on the surface, just reaching down underneath. It is so fucking cool the way they did Swamp Thing.
Everyone should be glad that you are not Swamp Thing. Because instead of fists, you'd make like dildos.
Penis-shaped trees.
Coming at him like,
I'm also glad that the design for Swamp Thing wasn't Injustice-ified, where they put a shit ton of armor on him, and it's just Swamp Thing from the comics, straight up. Another comment I read was, when did Swamp Thing grow wings?
They were so cool, but didn't he have them in the comic at one point?
Yes. In the New 52, he grows leaf wings and he flies around. It's pretty amazing. The artwork, I want to say that was Yannick Paquette, did it so incredibly well. And it was just a really cool reference from the earliest that I saw, at least, is the New 52 of him growing wings. And maybe it's a reference to something before that, but that's the first time I remember seeing Swamp Thing with wings. And they show him in the video game. It looks like there's no moves where he's flying around. But when he wins, he just grows these fucking things and grows a goddamn forest around him.
Cannot wait to play as this character, and we will have our chance May 16th of this year.
Did you also notice in the reveal trailer, and I hadn't seen it yet, but Damian Wayne is about the age of Tim Drake, I would say. And we all know that Injustice takes place a little bit further along in the future. Although, you know what? In the first Injustice, it was revealed that Nightwing was Damian Wayne when he went evil. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, in the whole story, it was that Damian became evil, fought on Superman's side, and took on the persona of Nightwing, which was a little bizarre. And that was one of the things that when they're having their back and forth, Batman and Damian Nightwing, is he tells him, Father, I'm going to stop you. And Batman says, I have no son. And they start fighting. And I'm like, first off, that's not how you write Batman. Batman would have made him his Robin again. That's always what Batman does. They always end up working for him. As mad as they are, Nightwing still works for Batman. The fucking Red Hood still works for goddamn Batman. Look at Detective Comics. All Batgirl works for Batman still. Spoiler works for Batman. But in this, it's him and Swamp Thing exchanging words. And Damien says, Brokeheads have heard it, but just the fact that they mention Ra's al Ghul, pronounce it correctly, first of all. And Swamp Thing says that Ra's al Ghul disrespected the Green. And I said, no, he doesn't. He's all for the Green. What do you mean he disrespected the Green?
He probably blew up some stuff.
And Swamp Thing got mad and just held on to it?
Or no, people are the red, aren't they? They're not the green.
Right.
Well, Swamp Thing's just bitter. Ra's probably blew up something at one point, and Swamp Thing's just like, no, we're not friends anymore.
And Ra's is like, God damn it. He's going to hold on to this forever. Continuing on the video game side, looks like Nintendo is changing its model a bit and adapting it more to what other video game companies and consoles are doing to try to get a few more dollars out of the consumer.
Starting when The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild launches on March 3rd, players will be able to purchase an expansion pass for $19.99, granting access to 2 new sets of downloadable content for the game when they become available later this year.
So Nintendo has done DLC for Mario Kart 8, new racers, new tracks. I bought the first set of it. I want to say they came out with more than one, or maybe it was all included in the season pass. I know I didn't play after... you know what? Maybe when they threw Link in there was the last time I played to try him out. But I haven't played it since then.
That's lame.
And they've also come out with DLC for Splatoon. But this is the second time in which they do a really serious set of DLC. And it's with Legend of Zelda, probably their biggest game this year. I don't know if Mario Odyssey is going to outsell it. I doubt it. I think Zelda is going to do huge. I know Mario is fucking massive. But Zelda on 2 consoles will sell better than Mario Odyssey on 1. So immediately upon pre-purchase or purchase of the expansion pass, 3 new treasure chests will appear in the game's Great Plateau area.
One of these treasure chests will contain a shirt with a Nintendo Switch logo that Link can wear during his adventure and be super lame. I mean, exclusive to the expansion pass.
No one's gonna fucking use that.
The other 2 will deliver useful items and story missions at a later date.
The expansion pass will be available for both the Nintendo Switch and Wii U versions of the game and are identical.
Content packs cannot be purchased individually.
I'm not seeing too much pushback on players' side as far as how they feel about an expansion pass on Zelda. If anything, I'm seeing a more cautious gaming crowd where they're like, okay, well, we liked what they did for Mario Kart 8. We liked the Splatoon stuff. As long as this isn't content that's already on the disc and it's just unlocking it, then we're okay. And that seems to be the attitude of a lot of gamers is when they don't feel like they're being swindled. It's a different story for them to say, oh, this was already in the game and we're going to pull it out of the disc or not include it in the disc and sell it later. Gamers don't care at that point, apparently, because obviously they could throw this in the game and that's fine. But instead, if it's actually a full download, people will pay for it. And I think $20 is pretty comparable based on what other games sell and what they charge for content that hopefully is on par, or at least Zelda's is on par with stuff like Mass Effect's DLC expansion.
And that's what I was going to say. $20 seems to be just about the right price point because they're still making their money. Would they sell more at $10? Probably, but you're still going to sell a good amount at $20 because, almost anybody can spare $20 if they really want that badly enough.
Yeah, you're kind of taking your chance on if you sell each treasure chest for $10 each, you're making $30 at the end of the day. But that's to the hardcore fan. That's to the fan that likes chest 1 and 2, and you don't risk someone saying, well, you know what, this DLC isn't really worth $10 every time, or I'm not really playing the game anymore. Whereas if you put it up from the beginning, you have their $20, no matter how many of them actually play the DLC or download every single one. Because inevitably, not everyone will get all 3. They'll get tired of it. They'll trade it in. It's just not going to happen. It's not a 100% conversion rate. So yes, $20 straight up. I think it'll do well.
I agree. I don't think anybody will wear that t-shirt, but good on them for including it.
Continuing along, it seems like we will be seeing Netflix and several of its shows as products, even more so than Pops, at your local comic shop very soon.
Revealed through a recent job posting on their website, Netflix is planning on further licensing out its properties into the retail world.
The new position, which is Director of Licensing, Merchandising, and Promotion, will oversee the licensing of Netflix-owned properties in the realm of books, comics, toys, collectibles, soundtrack, and apparel.
That's big.
We hadn't seen like a Stranger Things t-shirt aside from like the 24-hour type t-shirt sales like T-Fury, Ripped. And instead, if you were to partner up with a major clothing line as opposed to just a website, yes, seeing a bunch of Stranger Things t-shirts or House of Cards
Orange is the New Black.
There you go. Recently, the Pops have come out, which we've seen them for Orange is the New Black. We're seeing them for Stranger Things. Haven't seen a House of Cards one yet, which I will buy the shit out of a House of Cards pop line. Hopefully that happens. But a comic book. Imagine an extra story of Frank Underwood in between presidency or extra tales of him dealing with some asshole that won't sign over his shit because he should.
You could make Frank Underwood a comic. He curses too much.
It's a mature comic.
Okay.
You could even separate it from the rest of the publishers by just Netflix comics.
You could do, a big marker for them is Orange is the New Black. Tell stories of each of the individual women. You could have little one-offs, one-shots of them.
We have a quote here from the actual Netflix job posting, and it reads, "We are pursuing consumer products and associated promotion because we believe it will drive meaningful show awareness/buzz with more tangible, curated ways to interact with our most popular content. We want licensing merchandise to help promote our titles so they become part of the zeitgeist for longer periods of time," end quote.
We want to make more money because we really don't make that much money off these shows.
Well, I'm sure they make plenty. But more interestingly, this is a comic book, a company that relies on digital media. While they do make their shows available on Blu-ray, that's not their main thing. They make their money off of subscriptions. So it's interesting to see them say, let's make more physical products to promote our digital content. I mean, that's just a sign of there's always going to be a place in the near future for places like comic book shops to sell things that are related to what the same comic readers are reading. You can sell Stranger Things to the guy that's buying your Marvel books every week. It's the same type of crowd. Right. And Netflix being as popular as it is, yes, there is a huge opportunity here for not only Netflix, but for retailers to sell, as we mentioned before, Marvel-owned products or House of Cards, anything. I mean, I don't know what they're going to make, but the sky's the limit on this one.
I see the biggest market from my perspective, I think, is t-shirts and just the kind of stuff that Hot Topic does. They find these things that people really, really enjoy, and then they make the different t-shirts, and I don't really want to say the pops, but they have the jewelry and, all those kind of things. And I think a lot of these TV shows appeal to the demographic that goes to those stores to buy those kind of things. So I think that's where they'll make the majority of their money, because during election season, how many Frank Underwood shirts did you see?
Oh, fuck, yes.
So many. And that was from an online store where some other company made them. It wasn't a legitimate retailer. I don't want to say legitimate retailer, but it wasn't
a licensed product.
Right, a licensed product, exactly. So yes, this gives them, they should have done it before the election so they could have made all this money. But this does give them a greater opportunity to make more money off of these shows that they're doing so well with. Was OJ a Netflix show?
It was a FX TV show.
Never mind.
But Voltron. Imagine the Voltron shit.
Oh man, I would buy all the Voltron shit. There is Voltron shit though.
There's a Voltron comic book. Oh, the toys.
Yeah,
you're right.
Target has Voltron toys.
Well, that they didn't want to waste time on. They had to sell those to kids.
Yeah, you can buy the little lion mask and get your sword. I really want one for myself.
They ended that shit on another cliffhanger.
I know, I'm so angry.
But it was a better season. God damn, what a great season.
But where's Ulaz? He and Shiro need to be together.
He needs to return, come from the light somewhere, and go into embrace him.
Yes.
They need to both return.
I set you free because I love you. And then you set my heart free.
Netflix is also asking its producing partners for a share of revenue made from consumer products off of shows that they air.
These shows, owned by outside companies, include Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, and Marvel's various live-action shows.
So those probably require way more out of Netflix than the stuff that they have been producing themselves. So yeah, you have to go to Disney, and I'm sure all these like Orange is the New Black, they can, whoever owns it, I'm not sure who it is, can go straight to, as we said, Funko and license out their stuff as much as they want. But if Netflix can come up with a streamlined line of products that can include all of these things, then I think they'd be better off. And yeah, I can't wait to see personally the comics that come out of out of these properties.
You just want to see Frank Underwood being silly.
Yes, see him get drunk in a library and run around in a library cart. It's amazing.
No, I had to talk you out of doing that for the longest time.
I still want to do it.
He is not a good influence on you.
This here is all you, Kelly.
This is all me. So moving on to another great show. Fox's Lucifer has been renewed for a full 22 episode third season to begin late 2017.
What confidence in fucking Fox.
That's great.
On this shit.
Yeah.
But this is why. Its most recent episode gathered 6.2 million viewers, with it growing to 8 million when including other streaming platforms.
How many of those do you think are from 1 million moms or whatever?
Well, at least 1 million of them. I'm sorry, there's only, 6,000 members?
6,000.
Okay, 6,000 members from 1 million moms. They're still writing down what's so evil about it.
Okay, yes. They
That's
still
why
have to,
they're
they have
watching
to
all
keep
of it.
watching and see. We have a quote here. Quote, Lucifer is one of those rare shows that starts strong out of the gate and just keeps getting better and better. This came from Network Entertainment President David Madden.
So I dropped off of Lucifer season 2.
Yes.
Is this true? Is it in fact getting better?
I feel so, yes. I won't lie, I'm a few episodes behind. Life gets in the way, and I got The Nanny, and I liked watching The Nanny. And again, Lucifer is one of those shows that you've dropped off on, so it's something I watch when you're not home, and now I just nap when you're not home.
What's so appealing about Lucifer as a viewer, as a fan?
He's growing a lot as a character, which, of course, whenever there's character growth, legitimate, not just wacky, like, oh, this is the way I am now, like legitimate character growth, that's, of course, entertaining and pulls people in. At the same time, you have the love story with Deckard. And
fucking
that's...
Deckard. Hate Deckard.
You like Lady Deckard. You don't like...
Male Deckard, whatever
okay?
the fuck his
Well, the
name
love
is.
story isn't with male Deckard. It's with Zoe, Lady Deckard, okay? Zoe. And the last episode I saw, and it ended on a cliffhanger, so I don't know why I haven't jumped all over this next episode. But, that love story was just starting to go the way that it should be going. But at the same time, it shouldn't be going that way, because then that's bad. And his mom's scheming stuff. I hate his mom now. His mom and his brother are scheming all this stuff. And then you have Maze, who's bringing it. The range of characters that they've created is great. And it's awesome. And then you got Lucifer, who's just being his silly Lucifer self, sleeping with guys.
We saw that from the beginning.
Yeah, I know, but I forgot about it. So overall, they're telling a great story. And I know it's all has to do with religion, but it's not really that religious.
It's a fictitious, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. They don't shove it down your throat, I guess, but it's still for him, that's just his family. God's dad and mom created the universe and my brother's an angel, whatevs.
What's ironic to me is most of these viewers are more casual and haven't read the Lucifer comic. So those fans that were mad that this is nothing like the book, it's just a very loose adaptation, they're gone. But holy shit, is this still going? Do you like this more than iZombie? You've got to admit, they're similar shows. There's a mystery every single episode, and there are love stories in both.
It is similar. I think I like this one a little bit more because iZombie, I just got real frustrated at the end with her ex-fiance or whatever. Another
fucking Deckard, yeah.
He just started pissing me off, and I was just, I don't want to be a zombie. Why'd you make me not a zombie? Now I'm a zombie again.
Why'd you save my life?
Why'd you save my life?
Rather die than be a zombie.
I'd rather die.
It's well, then fucking go die then. Jesus Christ. I would solve all these problems so easily.
I'm just pretending to kill zombies. Because I don't really want to kill them, but I need to keep you alive.
Can't stand those kind of characters. Can't stand it. So, get this, Kelly. The only other Fox shows currently renewed this early are Empire and The Simpsons. Two humongous shows, and now 3.
I have heard great things about Empire. I need to watch that someday. And The Simpsons I don't think will ever die.
No, but who would have guessed? Fucking Lucifer, when they first did season 1, I thought it was going to be canceled.
I guessed.
I thought that shit was going to be gone.
I guessed. Actually, I thought it was going to be canceled too because I liked it as much as I like Constantine. And I mean, we saw where Constantine went. I was like, I'm not allowed to have things that are good.
Constantine went to the CW where they did not give him another season.
Yes. Assholes.
Or another appearance. Like, he's gotten the appearance in Arrow. And I heard that they mentioned him later on in a different show, but didn't actually have him on there. And now he's voicing Constantine in Justice League Dark.
I mean, at least we're getting something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how desperate we are to see him, Matt Ryan, as Constantine again. We're like, oh, awesome. Just celebrate the fact that he's voicing, and we're getting more.
For 5 lines, he's in this.
Incredible. We still have to watch that. Justice League Dark. It's out on Blu-ray. Not endorsed by DC Comics, but not close to the option.
Lucifer is currently at a mid-season break, but will return May 1st with the second half of its second season, so that gives me a chance to catch up.
You got tons of time.
I think I'm only 1 episode behind.
What did we say, a full 22-episode run? Do you know what?
22 episodes.
You remember season 1 or 2 was only renewed for, what was it, like 12 or 15, which is pretty typical of a show that the network doesn't want to invest all its money into.
Right.
Like, let's see how the ratings are for the first half, and then we'll produce the later. They went all in on this shit, so that is awesome. Would you buy Lucifer products? Would you buy a Lucifer mug?
Yes.
How about a heat-sensitive mug that when you put in, like, a hot product...
He turns into his devil
yes,
face? Oh, shit.
You went the rest of the way.
I would be all about that. Because, see, I have to be careful because my family's super religious. So, like, T-shirts and things, no. That would not be good for me. But
Lucifer, well, no, the character... Well, I mean, the other character.
But the mug, absolutely. Like, it's his, face. And then you pour hot stuff in it, devil face. And I'd be like, yeah!
Or for women, like, the suit comes off and it's just a shirtless Lucifer.
Yeah, I'd buy that too.
Which, props on them for not making him work. Remember, there's a couple scenes where he's shirtless and they didn't just buff him out and, like, go... He's like a regular guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. You don't see that too often. And, like, Deckard in iZombie, they made him... Like, you gotta fucking work out a lot because you're gonna be shirtless in this scene. For Lucifer, they're like, whatever. You're Lucifer.
You're British. Women will think you're attractive anyway. It's the voice.
All right, let's talk crazy for a minute here. The Hollywood Reporter recently posted that Mel Gibson is in talks for an unnamed role, possibly director, for Suicide Squad 2.
That's ridiculous. That's just Hollywood Reporter. What are you smoking?
We criticized the shit out of Mel Gibson a year ago when he had his opinions about BVS, and that has not fucking changed.
Nope, don't like him.
Why did we critique him? Why is Mel Gibson on the bad side of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast?
Because he had previously expressed a negative opinion to the superhero genre, saying, I'm not interested in this stuff. Do you know what the real difference is between real superheroes and a comic book superhero? Real superheroes don't wear spandex. End quote. Neither does Batman. He wears Kevlar.
Yeah, who's he talking about? Who are you talking about, Mel? Who you talking about?
Who you be talking about, Mel?
Look, Mel, if you're not interested, and no one, the internet does not forget.
No.
If you're not interested in superhero movies and you think they're bullshit, GTFO.
See you later, bye.
We don't need you. No one that's watching these movies is asking, where's Mel Gibson in these movies? Why isn't he directing one of these fucking movies?
What else has Mel Gibson directed?
He's done The Passion of the Christ.
Never saw it.
It's gory as shit. So if they're going to do an R-rated Suicide Squad, boom. He did the Mayan one. I can't, the name escapes me right now, but, oh,
I know.
I remember now. About. It's Apocalypto.
Oh, yes.
What a customer once at the local comic shop called Apocalypse. No, I'm sorry, called Thanos. The statue of Thanos called him Apocalypto. Mel Gibson's Apocalypto is what he saw.
Never saw that one. Don't care.
And he's appeared in one of the... He appeared as a villain in Machete.
Didn't see it. Don't care. All right, so I don't like this guy. I don't care. We don't need him.
If for some reason Mel Gibson was announced as a director of Suicide Squad 2, the sequel to the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, would that keep you from watching the movie?
There are very few things that will keep me from watching the movie. The first one set such a high bar, and I would hope that the company would recognize how great it was and do things that would keep the next one at that level or higher. So very few things would keep me from seeing it. Would I like shake my hand and go, Warner Brothers? Yes, I would.
I'll tell you what, though. If they were to come out with an announcement that says Mel Gibson to direct Suicide Squad 2, that'd be the that'd be the most clicked article
ever
of the week. No, of the day. The internet moves so quick. It would actually bring a shit ton of attention to the sequel. I will say that The Passion of the Christ, although I'm not a Christian, it moved me to tears at a portion of the movie that was directed in a way. He's not a bad director. I will say that he's not one of my favorite directors at all. But you didn't see The Passion, right? There is a scene in which he's carrying the cross around. And, he's
just carrying it around,
just casually.
Let me carry this today.
Yeah, he's being taken to the site of the crucifixion. Crucifixion. I told you I'm not Christian.
Crucifixion.
He's carrying it around, and this is why it's such a good scene, because even me, who I'm like, I'm watching it for the movie, the story, I'm invested in it. As he's dragging this thing and struggling, and he's bleeding, and they're spitting on him and everything, his mom is in the crowd watching, and she can't do anything to help her son, who is being tortured and being dragged to his death, essentially. And she's watching and crying in the crowd. And there's this moment where he falls and drops the cross, and he's just on the ground. And she goes back into when he was a child running, where he trips and falls and hurts himself. And she immediately runs out and picks him up, and she can't do that when he's going, but she says fuck this and goes through the guards and goes to him. It's such a powerful scene that moved me to tears. I'm not a mom, I'm but I'm a son,
hope you're
so
not a
it's
mom.
like there's that connection there that I'm tearing up now just thinking about that scene that I saw like a decade ago or whatever. And that was done so well that I'm like, okay, well, it's not the worst decision in the world. Yeah, Mel Gibson's wacky as shit. He can do some stuff.
Well, we'll see.
Otherwise, a director still hasn't been attached officially to Suicide Squad 2 because David Ayer, who directed the first one, is actually working on Gotham City Sirens.
That is some good news. I am happy to hear that. That's right, David. You do that. You do your thing, David. Do your thing.
He's on good terms with WB, even though they changed his cut and did like the more trailer-worthy version of it. According to him, it was an amalgam of the two versions after the test screenings.
According to him, it did real well, so I got some more money.
You know what? Whatever. I'd be saying the same shit. Yeah. If that movie flopped, you bet he'd be saying something different.
Oh, this is what they cut. This wasn't my cut.
Bad news on the horizon, Kelly?
Bad news on the horizon. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Have you seen the movie? I haven't seen
that's
the movie.
True. So according to Forbes, the new director to The Batman film will not be tied down to the script as written by Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns.
Warner Brothers is reportedly open to major rewrites and even a completely new script once they have a replacement director in place.
Most people reacted negatively because Jeff Johns is a great writer, but we still don't know if he's a great screenplay writer because the Wonder Woman hasn't released yet. But everyone is saying, okay, a Batman movie written by one of the best modern comic book writers around doesn't sound like a terrible idea. The studio being willing to throw that script away, and the way these things work, they don't just say, no, fuck that, we're never going to use that again. They take elements that they think would work and they throw them into a new script, and we saw that with BVS. Is this already a bad move to being open to a new script, possibly even not including Deathstroke in this solo movie?
Again, we haven't seen it, so I can't judge. And we also don't know how much of the script was actually Jeff Johns' influence. So if Ben Affleck was the director, He obviously had much more influence. So Jeff Johns could have been coming to him with ideas, saying, this is what we need to do. We need to do this. And Ben could have been like, no, we're going to do my thing. So realistically, and there's so many we don't knows in this situation.
Right.
You always have to trust the studio and hope that the studio is doing the best thing for this movie and to make them money, because that's what they want to make, of course. But having no idea what the script is about, anything about villains, anything about the plot, I can't really sit here and say, yes, this is a terrible idea, because we don't know.
Right. Yeah, all we can say is that there does need to be a balance between studio and writers and artists, because if you give too much leeway to the directors, you have something that's poorly received, like Batman v Superman. And this is why they reined in Zack Snyder and brought in Affleck in a more prominent role for these movies. And if you go the opposite way, then you have, something like the Wolverine movies, or I guess like that Exorcist prequel, although the studio prequel was better than the director one. So I don't know. There does have to be that balance. I'll tell you what, if you give too much decision power to the studio, they're going to look at what they think audiences are going to like based on what retweeted last week.
Oh, hashtag make a movie younger? All right, write that in there somewhere. Make our movie younger.
Forbes continued by reporting that before leaving the director's chair of Warner Brothers' The Batman, the studio asked the actor/writer/director to delay his work on outside projects to focus exclusively on DC films.
Affleck is currently attached to direct Bunker Hill, A City, a Siege, a Revolution for Warner Brothers, and The Witness for the Prosecution for Fox.
And there is currently no release date now to The Batman. We've seen directors leave several of these movies now. We saw that with Wonder Woman, we saw that with The Flash, and now we're seeing it with The Batman. Is that Warner Brothers overstepping boundaries, maybe having too much control over the projects? Is that a bad sign for the movies overall?
I feel it is largely contributed to Warner Brothers maybe micromanaging these directors.
Maybe being too nervous about this universe.
And constantly stepping in and be like, no. And I understand their reason for wanting to do that, because as we've seen with Marvel, they've gotten so many views and made so much money off of their stuff that they're trying to hit that same mark.
Right, and BVS as well, that people apparently overall didn't like it. It still made a shit ton of money, but they want a movie that makes a shit ton of money and is viewed favorably by audiences. So that's probably them going, okay, hold on a sec, put on the brakes, we're going to overwatch this shit even closer. We're going to be there every day. Some representative is going to be there for every day of production. And yeah, you're right. It's probably them saying, Affleck, if you're going to really do this, those need to go away. You need to focus on this. And that's it. And as an artist, they're not happy with that. No artist likes that.
It doesn't give them the freedom to... I mean, I'm not an artist, and I hate when I'm micromanaged at work. Like, trust me, give me the opportunity to show you that this is what I can do.
Trust me like you trusted Zack Snyder.
Yeah, there you go. But Suicide Squad turned out great, but they did micromanage him.
That was after the reaction to BVS, that they said, okay, hold on a second, let's recut this shit, because this is going to be another darker one like BVS, and apparently dark equals bad in people's minds.
Yeah, they're silly. People don't know what they like.
So we've got some good news on the comic book side of things. I'm especially happy about this. DC Entertainment will be promoting its line of DC Rebirth comics with 15 and 30-second commercials for movie theaters nationwide.
Comic shops will have the option of inserting their store's name and contact info for local advertisements.
So participating theaters are the biggest ones around. AMC, Cinemark, and the biggest one, Regal.
Regal's the biggest?
It is.
I always thought AMC was the biggest.
AMC is the second biggest.
Oh, okay. So I think this is really smart. You place these, especially in front of a DC movie that's about to come out.
There you go.
For instance, people are sitting there watching Suicide Squad right before. You got a 30-second commercial. Pick up the Suicide Squad issue at your local comic book shop. Here's the name. Yeah,
I think that's the target for sure. Or if you can... I know the studios aren't as... They go through a marketing company to put these movies before Star Wars or whatever. So it's not just like Disney going, well, we would like the Jungle Book put before Rogue One, and we would like the new Pirates movie. It doesn't work that way. They work through an advertisement company, and they take all of the bids for these commercials and they insert them before said movie. So it's not just complete control over Disney, whatever they want, or Warner Brothers, whatever they want. So you could see these before like a Marvel movie if you really wanted to pay that fucking price. Or before Star Wars, whatever you think your audience will be more willing to turn over and go to their local comic shop, or I guess to their app and buy the comic book, that's who you want to aim it at. I know we've seen Nintendo do commercials for their video games, and we've heard in the audience the kids going, oh yeah, I want that. Comics will be more interesting to see. I think it has to be different than what they've done with the recent television commercials, where it's like a motion comic and they're like, Newsarama said this. I don't know, maybe something more dynamic, something with live action acting of someone going into a comic. I think that would be cool. I don't know yet, but whatever they end up doing, I think if it's marketed at the right audience and it doesn't seem like an internet commercial, something you'd see on an ad before a YouTube video, then yes, this can be very effective.
I 100% agree, especially with all the DC movies that we have coming out soon. Wonder Woman, Justice League, and these are some of their best comics right now too. So perfect place to start, get it in people's minds. And I appreciate that they're adding the contact information for the local comic shop too, because that pulls people, oh, let me punch that into my phone. It's 5 minutes away. Let's go after the movie.
And that will do it for our news portion of the week, Brokettes. We've got something very exciting. If you haven't noticed yet, in case you missed it, you've gone through it. You've gone through the website. You went through the approval process. You got to see it.
I had to approve it because I'm pretty sure it was already up there. And you just said,
I would have changed that shit so quick if you had seen something. TheReasonsI'mBroke.com is very different right now. Punch that into your phone. Punch that into your computer.
Make sure you're not driving, please.
Yes. Tell them about the new website, Kelly.
Looks great. Most important thing, I'll get to the most important thing last. So we got a new homepage. Looks beautiful.
Yes, it's got a live link to subscribe on iTunes, which is our biggest download source for the show. But it also has the new integrated player. So this player was very important. I know I said that a lot on Twitter, on Facebook, and on the podcast as well. What is the big deal with the new player? Well, the older website would go through TuneIn, which is one of our various distributors for the podcast. This new one goes straight from our source. And it is a better looking podcast player. It's themed with our colors for the show. More importantly, the episodes, when they go up on Sunday, go up immediately at noon on Sunday. It's not going to take about 20 hours to go up on TuneIn because there's like a buffer period there where they upload it and then they put up all the information. This is through the server. It goes straight on the website. You log into thereasonsI'mBroke.com at noon Eastern time on Sundays. You will get the latest episode.
We also have a new gallery page, which doesn't have enough pictures of me, but you're working on it.
It's got a picture right now.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Is it a good one?
Yes, it is. It's the one from where you hid that selfie on my phone.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I'm surprised you just now noticed.
That gallery is updated daily because it's linked straight into our Instagram account. So if you don't have an Instagram account, go straight to thereasonsI'mBroke.com, click on gallery, and there you can view all of the images we put up every single day.
We also have my favorite piece, a brand new merchandise shop.
The full e-commerce portion of the entire t-shirt business for the podcast. All of the profits for the t-shirt sales go towards the server cost on the website, for the podcast, and the videos that we do upload.
We also have some brand new shirts up there.
Yes.
I was sporting one of them this weekend.
So we've got running down, and please go to thereasonsI'mBroke.com, click on merch, and follow along with us. The main logo t-shirt, and that is exactly what you saw on there. It defaults on purple, which is pretty much like the logo that is up on iTunes and everywhere else. We also have it available in black with the logo in white, red t-shirt with the logo in black, and a blue t-shirt with the logo in white. And you can choose there from various sizes, both in men's and women's.
We also have the one that defaults to red, and it looks like the Coca-Cola logo.
It is titled Brokette Classic. So any one of those Brokettes that have been there since number 1, number 10, number 15, number 100, number 150, number 200. Doesn't matter. Feel as vintage as you want with the Broquette Classic t-shirt. Recently announced, too, on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
The one you were sporting this weekend is the 90s podcast logo.
Reminds me of Saved by the Bell or an old Taco Bell.
Old Taco Bell is the big one, yes. Lazy Nerds Designs, who are a locally owned and operated t-shirt business right here in Orlando. I talked to the guy personally. He did an excellent job in translating the logo, we went through a lot of work. At least I did with the t-shirt manufacturer. His name is Aaron. We went through a lot of work in going, okay, how many colors can we print out on these t-shirts and still keep it cost effective? Mm-hmm. So after I had the specs and the limits, I made a 3-color design that would look great on black. And since then, we've adjusted. I got a prototype t-shirt of it. We adjusted from there on the colors, and then we finalized it, which is exactly what you were wearing this weekend. And it is a 90s design type of style to it. It says The Reasons I'm Broke podcast on it. It's got 3 colors. It's got a bright yellow, it's got a green, and then a light pink in the background. Definitely check it out. Available on black t-shirts. Really pops.
And then our final t-shirt design, I call it the coffee design, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, it's we call it Premium Quality Podcast. As you mentioned, it kind of reminds you of a coffee label. It could also be viewed as a beer label. And it's available in brown. We've showcased that one about 4 months ago on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And it's got The Reasons I'm Broke in a different font, comics, movies, TV, video games, and Premium Quality Podcast. It's a more rounded logo and also has more of that stressed, worn out look to it.
So if you guys want to show your support, head over there, pick up a t-shirt. Great price point for these, $16.99. One of these could be yours, and you could be walking around town letting people know your favorite podcast.
And that's with free shipping. Free shipping.
That's amazing.
Broquettes. A full e-commerce site, the portion of it that we mentioned before, you don't have to go through various instructions like before on PayPal, where it's like, okay, well, this is how you click on it and you donate this much, which worked out fine. But this time you actually have an interactive guide with size and men's cuts and women's cuts and color and brighter pictures on what you're getting and how it lays on the t-shirt. The biggest thing too is this was more tied into goal number 3 on Patreon. But as I was putting out these new designs and we were announcing the new logos and setting up the prints for them, and I still have one more design on its way, but that's something I also have to save up for. But I noticed that people, when they saw these new logos and then these new t-shirts, they wanted them now. They didn't want to wait until the t-shirt actually showed up on the brand new website. So I took a portion of my tax return and applied it to accelerating the brand new the brand new website for the podcast, which includes all of these upgrades. And now we've adjusted goal number 3 to help pay for the new website. So hopefully we get there with goal number 3, because that would put me out of the red for the new website. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, I wanted to make the t-shirts and the new designs available for everyone out there that did want them. Anyone that did not want to wait until goal number 3 came out, you can now sport the t-shirt. And the most popular one, based on feedback, has been that 90s style
cool.
and podcast.
I love it.
Yeah, it turned out great. Really, really happy with them. But again, check them out yourself at www.thereasonsimbroke.com.
The last thing you'll find on our website is a contact page. You can enter in all your information with a note, and then we will respond back.
Yeah, any questions, any feedback you have for the podcast, you now have a full contact page there. So if you ever think, you know what, I want to submit a question to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, but I don't want to be limited to characters on Twitter, I have a whole thing I want to send in, go to the website, go to the contact page. You can fill in a whole form based on what you want to say to the podcast and the feedback. And if it is a full letter, we may read it on the show itself too. So that's another way, and you can send in fan mail or fan suggestions, contacts, criticisms, whatever it may be. You can submit it. If you don't want to send it to us on Twitter, thereasonsimbroke.com.
But of course, guys, none of this would be possible without our Patreon supporters.
Yes, huge thanks to all of our Patreon backers for helping us get this far, and without you, we never would have had the comfort in releasing this brand new launched website. So we want to give our Patreon shout out of the week, and this week it goes out to John. His Twitter handle is @John72Tex. He's recently been tweeting about Star Wars related brand new Last Jedi stuff that's coming out. So be sure to follow him on Twitter @John72Tex. He also promoted Descender Volume 3.
Oh, Descender's great.
Yes.
Destin win.
So thank you so much, John, for your support. If you also want your monthly shout out for as little as $1 a month, $1 a month, you too can get your shout out.
That's 25 cents an episode, for those of you who can't do the math.
Head on over to patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke. You also find the link at thereasonsimbroke.com, and there are various tiers there. Aside from just getting the monthly shout out, you also get early access to the podcast every single week, even earlier than when it goes up on the new website. You get a special link just for the new episode. You get a special feed, so download straight into your favorite app. As long as it can take an RSS feed, throw it in there one time, and it will auto-download the latest episodes ahead of Sunday's release.
At the $5 tier, you also get a decal every 3 months, a custom decal that you get to vote on because you are a Patreon supporter.
That's right, and you also get a vote on the future of the podcast as well. Anytime we take feedback on the latest guests, you get voting access to that feedback. We do want to thank decalavenue.com for the help at the $5 reward tier.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do for us is leave us a review on iTunes, on whatever you use to listen to our podcast. That helps other people find the show. Also, let your friends know about us.
Please,
Talk to us on Twitter. Let us know what you like. Let us know maybe what you want to hear more of. Interact with us because you guys are the reasons that we do this show.
Word of mouth is huge, definitely helps, and a huge thanks to all of you on Patreon, all of you that have ever bought a t-shirt, all of you that are simply tuning in to the show. Thank you so much for keeping us going.
All of you who are going to buy a t-shirt now that you know they're available.
That's right. So on to our comic book highlight of the week. This week it goes out to Justice League Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2.
This is written by Tom Taylor with art and colors by Stephen Byrne.
Don't forget, we've got the full Lego Batman review coming up as the final thing we cover on the podcast. But this is the continuation of the Black Rangers showing up in Gotham City, fighting the Batman, and the Justice League rushing in to help at the same time as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers bringing up their Zords to fight the Justice League.
This was pretty epic. This was great because they were fighting each other, and then Power Rangers aren't stupid. They're starting to figure it out. They're like, maybe these aren't bad guys. And then their whole justification was, well, you'd fight Batman too if you saw him.
He's kind of scary looking. That actually also leads us to the Superman Loves Batman Moment of the Week theme song.
I can lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're safe and sound.
So we're going to read part of the comic so that you understand the Superman Loves Batman moment. But the Power Rangers are essentially talking to the Justice League, saying that, well, yeah, you'd fight Batman too. Like, where we come from, good guys don't wear all black and don't smile. And Superman responds in a way that only Superman could, and says, Batman can be a bit intense, especially when he's trying to intimidate new people. But he's what, Superman? He's magical. That's what he was going to say.
Yeah, they interrupted him, and the panel has him, like, smiling, like, well, you know, you're very excusable of the Batman, because only he understands it.
Yes, he is the only one who understands Batman. At least he thinks he's the only one who understands Batman. Yes.
So even when Superman crosses over into the Boom Studios universe, still loves Batman.
Of course. He could cross into any universe and he'd still love Batman. Like, in that comic issue with all the Supermen in the one place, there was so much Batman love in there, it was stifling.
Yeah, it was. Definitely check out the miniseries if you haven't yet. Justice League Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Can't wait for more crossovers with the DC Universe as they partner up with some of the other indie companies for these awesome sellout miniseries.
And with that, we will wrap up our podcast portion of, I guess it's all a podcast. The news and comic portion, the main portion of the podcast. There we go. Those are the words for this week. The last little bit is going to be our Lego Batman full spoiler review.
Yes, if you haven't seen the Lego Batman movie, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are leaving to not have it spoiled for you, we'll see you next week. This is your warning, of course. Otherwise, forward with the Lego Batman movie review. We do have here first how it actually did at the box office.
So it topped weekend box office with $55.6 million with a global taking of $92.6 million. That's some big money.
We're going to see a Lego Batman movie too.
Oh, we will.
There's no way there isn't a sequel to this.
Absolutely.
Number one at the box office, as you said, here in North America, not worldwide. Black, the grayest. What's it called?
50 Shades Darker.
50 Shades Darker, Blackest Night, Brightest Day. Actually topped out the Lego Batman movie at the global box office. But in the Americas, we know what's what.
Hell yeah, we know not to see shitty movies. We go see Lego Batman.
Yeah, and this has a positive Rotten Tomatoes rating, guys.
Oh, so yes.
Because now it's convenient again for Rotten Tomatoes ratings to count.
Of course.
Because it's a movie that they can criticize another DC movie for. This is better rated than Batman v Superman. A Lego movie is better rated. Now the ratings are the most important thing again. Not when they rate something I like lower and I can say, don't listen to critics. What do they know? I'm going to see it from all flip-flop, Kelly. Flip-flop every fucking time something like this happens.
You know what? I'm glad that this has good reviews and people are enjoying it because it was a fucking hilarious movie.
You need to take responsibility for your life, and it starts by raising the young orphan you adopted.
I thought I was being sarcastic.
Hello, secret camera.
It was a great movie. So, overall story.
Yes.
This is about Batman growing as a superhero. This is not your typical Batman that we've ever seen on screen. It is, of course, a sillier Batman. He's a closed-off Batman, more than even the Nolan movies. He's willing to kill... This is the darkest Batman we've gotten
ever
out of all the Batman movies. So I will use that as my piece when someone says... They don't have to make something dark. Well, actually...
Lego Batman was pretty fucking
dark. He wanted
dark.
to kill Robin. He was 110% dispensable. Those were his words. And it is all about Batman growing as a superhero to trust those around him. Not the Justice League, because they're made out to be assholes. But to trust himself, to trust Alfred... and people that are willing to help him.
I like how the Justice League were the assholes, not Batman, and they were just responding to Batman being an asshole.
They were assholes. They didn't invite him to the Justice League party.
Because he's an asshole.
He's a Justice League member. And he's huge for the team.
Okay.
He took care of all of Gotham. He's a master builder.
It's true. It's true, he is. He didn't get stuck in gum like Superman.
Hey, Batman, do you want to take a picture... with the Justice? No, what do they say? They fucking tricked him. Do you want to take a picture? Oh, yeah, of course. And they give him the camera and have him take the fucking picture. It is so mean. It is terrible. Poor Batman. But at the end, he is willing to thank people and be sorry for things and not just assume that he will fix everything, which he will. But when you have other villains from the Phantom Zone like Sauron and Voldemort going into Gotham City... you need the help of someone other than just the Batman.
That is true. So many funny moments in this movie. They make a nod to every Batman anything ever,
right,
essentially.
Yes.
They recreate all the Batman movie covers with this little Lego one, and then you got Batman 66 in there with actual Adam West doing a silly little dance. You have shark repellent.
So many references. This is... a love letter to the Batman universe. A love letter for the fans who love Batman. You can guarantee that you will not see all of the references the first time watching this. Even the second, third, ninth time. Because for some bits of it, you will need to pause it. You will need to own it on Blu-ray and pause the movie when they're showing off the bat suits. because you bet the vehicles, all of the
Yep.
vehicles in the Batcave,
All
they
of
go by
them.
so quick. Pause that. There's like an animated series reference in there. They even represent the animated series. They recreate that in Lego form. I mean, everything is there for everyone. There's a Batman Beyond reference even. The explanation for Robin's goofy outfit is so fucking good that now I want to see a Jamaican Batman out there. Like, that is incredible. That is amazing.
He called himself, what, Rasta Man or something?
Yeah,
And that's
something
why
like
it had
that.
the R on it.
The jokes are back to back to back.
I thought this movie was great for kids because they would have laughed at it, but there was so much for adults and people our age too. Like when he shoots, you laughed so hard at it and it cracks me up every time. Where he's trying to shoot to kill Batman and his friends.
You're talking about the sea monsters
Yeah,
trying to shoot?
trying to shoot to kill Batman and his friends, and then they move real fast and he kills Sauron instead. And he's just like, oh. And then like tries to sneak away.
I have no idea why that was the funniest part to me. I think it was because it was unexpected. And it just popped out of nowhere and they held on that shot for a little bit that I just died laughing more than any other joke in the movie. So like even the humor they mix up. And there's a love story again with Batgirl and Batman, which some people, I guess, that's weird. Just like in the Killing Joke. It's like, well, go back to the first appearance of Batgirl where they created her so that people are like, so that people stop thinking that Batman and Robin are gay.
We're together, yeah.
That's why they're like, oh, Batgirl, and they're fighting over her, and they're both in love with her. Since the very first appearance, that's been a thing. So let's not pretend that, oh, well, he's more of a father figure, and even if you were to take the animated series, which I hold as the Batman thing, even then he went out with fucking Barbara Gordon. Even then he became bitter and ruined the relationship with Barbara Gordon, and you saw that play out in Batman Beyond. That's been a thing. This isn't new.
But it's uncomfortable.
But it feels weird. I don't know.
All right, calm down. A lot of 80s music in there too. Did you notice that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So definitely not just for kids.
The animation is right on par with the Lego movie. You see the little fingerprints and scratches on each Lego figurine, which, as I understand, they mainly did a CG. This is all mainly computer generated stuff, but they make it look like stop motion, which is like the beauty in the way they did it, because there are like the missing frames to make it look like they're actually Legos that were animated and moved. And they also kept the textures the same on the plastic, so that again, it gives the illusion of stop motion. So it is so incredibly well done. And yeah, the story of having all of these different villains from different franchises together in this one movie makes it even better. So it's not just about the Batman universe. There is more to it.
Well, the thing that made it even better is having all those villains made it feel like a kid was playing this out.
Yes.
Because, yeah, when you play with your Legos, you got your Batman set, but you also got your Harry Potter set, and so it was like, fuck it, let's just get all these villains.
I need them to fight someone, so
Yeah.
they're going to fight Voldemort.
And we missed talking about the Joker's in love with Batman
That was
in this.
huge,
Yeah.
right.
It was great. That's what started all this, is Batman's like, I don't need anybody. I don't need you, Joker. And the Joker's all butthurt because Batman's not in love with him.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it, is their relationship was gone, and Batman wouldn't admit to Joker. He's like, you're not my greatest enemy. You're not even close. I don't have a greatest enemy.
Maybe Superman.
Yeah, that's Superman. I forgot who said it was the second one, but it was not the Joker, and that was the Joker's whole thing. He's played up like a jealous, hurt girlfriend that is going to leave him to show him what's what.
Yeah.
And that's how he continues, like, I've moved on, Batman, but he hasn't really moved on.
No.
That was so fucking funny.
And I love how Harley just keeps helping him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go ahead. Be a jealous girlfriend.
And the Batman still doesn't get it the whole time. He's like, what's going on? What do you mean? Loved it. All right, so the question is going to come up, and they're both good movies. I like them both. I'm not slamming one or the other. They're both awesome, and you should watch and own both. Was it better than the Lego movie?
For me, yes. There are more parts that I really enjoyed, mostly because it's Batman. But it also wowed me with all these different villains coming in there, you know, that you weren't expecting.
The Daleks, even?
Yep, the Daleks. Alfred being in there. Alfred was great.
Yeah.
Just being Alfred. There was more growth for Batman. And Batman was my favorite part about the Lego movie. Like, if Batman wasn't in Lego movie, I would not have enjoyed it as much as I did.
There's also an older Barbara Gordon. Did you notice that, too?
In this one, yep. So, yes, this was probably, out of the two of them, the one that I liked more. Granted, both of them were very good, but I like this one more.
Yeah, I also like both, of course, but I think Lego Movie was a more complete story and movie overall. I think the Lego Batman, because it was so tied into the Batman universe and there were so many references to Batman, I don't know, it kind of felt a little bit short as to the story that it was telling. Lego Movie was brilliant in one, that Batman, who was the best portion of the movie, it didn't pull a Jack Sparrow where they're like, okay, well, here's a shit ton of him. And Batman movie didn't really do that because it didn't fall flat because of it, where it's like, okay, well, this is too much Batman. It wasn't. But you had Batman made the movie of the first one, the Lego movie. Batman were the highlights of it, but there was still this story told around these other characters. And it was all about growth, and it was all about how collectability can go too far. It's all about the enjoyment at the end of the day of these figurines, of these toys. And that was the end story, and that reveal of someone's playing with these things the entire time. That was huge, and that turnaround was much bigger than, Batman accepting that he needs to not be an asshole. Or that low moment where everyone's mad at him, everyone's mad at the main character, and we've got to go. This movie did that. It did that thing that I hate, that doesn't give kids enough credit for. So, yeah, as an overall movie, I think Lego Movie is a better film, but this was still so awesome, so great for any DC Comics fan, any fan of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who. Not necessarily Marvel, they do bash Marvel, but everything else, you will love it. If the Lego Batman movie is nominated for a Broscar, I can tell you it is definitely in the lead. We may see the Broscars 2018 sticker on that Blu-ray next year.
Just from the opening credits of that, when he's talking over all the logos, DC, the house that Batman built. Just good for you, Batman.
He did. Well, Superman, but right now, Batman kept
for
it.
Sure.
Green Lantern and Batman kept it afloat. Good on Batman, good on WB, and good on when they do the Lego Movie 2 eventually, because maybe this is its own universe building thing. Maybe we'll see some of the effects from this leak on over to the Lego Movie 2. I'm not sure what's really going to happen, but we know for sure now that Lego is fucking serious.
Yeah.
When it comes to movie theaters.
And God, like 10 years ago, would you ever look at Legos and be like, this will be a movie someday?
No.
I remember when they came up with those Dumb Bionicles and they had that Dumb Bionicle TV show. I'm like, this is really stupid. Nobody's ever going to watch this.
It's like they were trying.
Yeah.
And now, before the trailer to Lego Batman movie, there is a Ninjago movie coming that's also Lego. It's done in the same style as all of these.
It looks so funny.
And the trailer was great.
It
The
was
jokes
awesome.
fucking landed. I don't like Ninjago. I like that trailer.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay to see that fucking movie.
It was great. His dad butt dialing him. I'm like, your dad hates you.
We're down for Lego movies.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
They're great. Just keep doing what you're doing, Lego. Don't try to fancy it up because you're making all this money now.
And they're not bashing you over the head with, there's this toy now that you can buy.
Right.
The whole point is that they're toys already.
Right. Now I want to go. We were in Target the other day and we saw Clayface and we're like, oh, fuck. Clayface was animated so well in that movie, too.
Yes, he was.
It was awesome.
What a great movie. Lego Batman movie. Recommend it. Go and watch it in theaters. Buy it on Blu-ray if you don't watch it in theaters.
Take your kids to see it, for sure.
Great for kids. Even though it's the darkest Batman, it's great for kids. Check it out. Frank Miller Batman's not going, you're indispensable, Robin. I like how that's the one line that made it the darkest ever.
110%. It is.
It is fucked up.
It's real messed up.
So let us know what you thought of the Lego Batman movie Brokettes. Head on over to Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke and @PalpaKelly. That does also wrap it up for the podcast this week. I do want to remind listeners that if you own a Blu-ray copy of Zootopia, Arrival, or Suicide Squad, and you would like a free 2017 Broscars winner decal little sticker, I've put up the pictures on Twitter. Send us a picture of your personal Blu-ray copy, and I will mail you a sticker for whichever movies you have, if you want to stick it on your movie and improve and enhance the cover.
So if you ever choose to sell that copy, everyone will know.
That's right. Improves the value. really elevates it because you're not seeing Oscar stickers on these.
No.
You're seeing Oscar-nominated stickers on these, but it's, who cares about Oscar-nominated? We're not making
It's all about the
Broskers
Broskers,
nominated.
yeah.
We're making Brosker winners. And if you own one of these winners on Blu-ray, send us that picture.
But that does wrap up our podcast for the week. A lot of stuff went on this week. Very large podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in this and every single week. Of course, you can talk to us on Twitter, like he said earlier, at Reasons I'm Broke, at Kelli. Talk to us, like our things, retweet. That's what Dan always tells me. Retweet.
TheReasonsI'mBroke.com. Don't forget that.
Yes, definitely check out thereasonsimbroke.com. See our brand new site. Daniel's put a whole lot of work into this to make it something great for you all. So leave him some comments. Use the contact page on there. Tell him what you think of the site.
Thank you so much, Bro Cats. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.